afternoon to everybody. We want to give a special thanks to Dr. Shaya and to Leah Safin for sponsoring this Devout Torah on Parsha Toledot. It's for a wonderful reason. It's in honor of the 50 years of the founding of the shul, and Dr. Safin, Shaya, and Leah, that they've decided to honor the shul, mamash through Divrei Torah, and we thank you very, very much for such a contribution, and we bless you that you and your family should also always be zocher, that the Torah, the teachings of the Torah, that they should infuse your family, and that you should be, in the language of Chabad, that yafutzu mainotecha chutza, that your wellsprings of Torah and Yiddishkeit should always overflow outside. This week I wanted to speak about, it's a Yotzad of this Friday, Rosh Chodesh, of the great Gaon and one of the leading Poskim of the 20th century, by Eliezer Yehuda Waldenberg, who was, as you can see, he was born in 1915, and he passed away in 2006. He is known for his monumental works, responsa called Tzitz Eliezer, 22 volumes on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of responsa, and basically he was known to be really the trailblazer and the expert in medical ethics in the world of Psak Halacha. There were others who also followed, but he was a recognized leader, as I say, the trailblazer when it came to all these new technologies and new understanding of medicine. So he was the one who dealt with these issues head on, and he was known as the foremost authority in this area. He was a Yerushalmi, an unbelievable, typical one of the Yerushalmi Gedolim, who were known for their simplicity, who were known for their anava, for their humility. He lived next to Sharei Tzedek, in other words, what we today know as Machane Yehuda. Although I still remember when I first came to Israel in the 70s, and next to Machane Yehuda was the old Sharei Tzedek hospital, before it was relocated now to sort of near Beit Vegan, Givat Mordechai. And he had a little shul over there, and it was next to the hospital, so there used to be doctors used to daven in that small shul. So they used to keep asking Shaila. So when he said to him at one stage, instead of asking me questions here and there, you know what, I'll give a shiur, like a fixed shiur in Sharei Tzedek, and on the inyanim of medical ethics to the doctors and to the nurses. And thus he became actually the expert in these matters, and also he became the unofficial, he was the unofficial Rav of Sharei Tzedek. And he made it his business to understand, but really properly, all the deep, the scientific and the proper realities of all the shilas in medicine. One of the doctors who was afterwards his name was Professor Jacobson, who lived in the Old City, became sort of the doctor of the Old City, and he once said that when he first came on Aliyah, so and he was working in Sharei Tzedek, so Rabbi Waldenberg made an agreement with him. He would take his children to go and to choose the Dalet Minim, and in exchange, the 4 Minim for Sukkot, and in exchange, the professor would share with him all his clinical knowledge and know-how, so he should know exactly and very deeply, not just like a layman, but to know properly what were the issues. So, as I say, all the inyanim of medicine, which so changed, and are constantly changing, he kept up with that, and he dealt with all the life end issues. He dealt with the inyanim of what are the criteria of death and abortions. He was known to be the most makil to have to be the most lenient when it came to abortion. And what he said was that one can abort a fetus even up to 7 months. Incredible if they saw that there was Tay-Sachs or something else afterwards. He wasn't so emphatic when it came to Down syndrome, but I mean the others, yes. And he was very, very much, other Poskim argued with it, but he held his ground, and he was known for his tremendous leniency and humanity in this way of understanding the pain of the mother, and also the subsequent of the child if it was born in a deformed way. So he was very makil, and I'm going to tie it up in a moment with our parasha. But I just want to finish off saying one or two things about him. When I said beforehand that he was a person who really made it his business to know properly the discipline of medicine and exactly the realities, etc. I want to share you a story that is on YouTube. It's actually in Hebrew, and you can look at YouTube. It's a hesped that Rabbi Obadiah Yosef's son, Yaakov Yosef, who actually passed away a couple of years ago, but that he said on the Tzitz Eliezer, and he relates the following story. He says that he came once into the Beit Midrash, and he said to the doctors, he said, listen, usually you ask me questions. I want to actually ask you questions today. So he started off quoting the Chazon Ish. Sorry. The famous Chazon Ish, I mean, one of the great leaders of Jewry, and one of the foremost poskim who passed away in the late 1950s. And the Chazon Ish said like this: let's say a person is used to making porridge for his little child, and it happened to turn out that there's no more porridge for the child. The person finds himself, I don't know, in some nachalot or in some place or village where there's no substitute for can't find porridge. What should he do? So the Chazon Ish says that what you do is he can on Shabbat he could light the fire, cook some new porridge, and give it to the child. So now and the Chazon Ish, so he asked, so the Chazon Ish sort of raised the question, and hold on, why am I saying that what you can do is that you can cook some new porridge? Why can't he just substitute the menu? He'll take some bananas, he'll mash them, he'll turn it into a puree, and he'll give that to the child while we are allowing the parent to b'chalel Shabbat. So the Chazon Ish said because the change in menu for a young child can be detrimental. So now the Tzitz Eliezer, the Rav Waldenberg, asked all the doctor, tell me, is this true? Is this correct that if you now change porridge for, let's say, an apple puree or banana puree, is there going to be something which is sakanat nefashot that the Chazon Ish now is allowing, where there's no other daisa, there's no other porridge that you can make a new dot. Is it correct or not correct? So they said, no, it's not correct. We're speaking over here where between the Chazon Ish's psak and this discussion is something like 60 years on. And maybe the Chazon Ish, if he knew all the latest data, he would not give that psak halacha. But when he asked the doctors, is this correct or not, they said, no, it's not correct. So he says that's it. You can't be mechalel Shabbat. And if there's no porridge, what you do is give something else to the child. So he had tremendous power. He had tremendous broad shoulders to go and to argue with the Chazon Ish, but all on the basis of these things. So he was already really a phenomenal man. As I said, he had these 22 volumes of Tzitz Eliezer, and he also wrote about one of his major books, was called Hilchot Medina, which was written just like sort of about a year or two after the founding of the State of Israel, in which he tackled all the problems, but really in a very, very like deep way, about judges, about government, about punishments that the government has according to the Torah, etc. The whole inyan of non-Jews in Israel, what would a Medina look like? So these are all the things that he dealt with. And as I said, he was like a Yerushalmi, very, very like he didn't belong to any party. He was not like any other. Let's say you take the Poskim like Rav Soloveitchik, the Rav Shlomo Zalman, Rabbi Yoshev, all these people at one time, they were like either Rosh Hashivas, they gave shiurim. No, he just sat in a shul, he wrote down his books, people come to ask him shilas. He didn't belong to the Aguda, didn't belong to Shas, didn't belong to the Mizrahi. He was totally independent. So he was, yes, a very tremendously great man. I spoke about his very unique, he was known for his position on abortion. What has it got to do with our Sedra? So there's a very interesting comment of Rav Soloveitchik in Boston. His uncle, called the Grizz, Rav Yitzchak Zael Velvel Soloveitchik, on the pregnancy of Rivka. Rivka had a very difficult pregnancy, so much so that she, according to Rashi, she felt it was abnormal because when, for example, Asa would pass Avodah Zorah, she'd feel a kick when she'd pass like a shul or like a place of holiness, then Yaakov would kick. So she had a very difficult pregnancy, and she went to the yeshiva of Shaban Aber, either to daven or to ask him through prophecy what is going on. So she said it was such a serious thing that she said, Lama ze anochi? Why am I living? Why am I praying that I should have this type of difficult pregnancy? Now the Rav Velvel Soloveitchik, he explains the position like this. There's a famous Gemara in Masechet Brachot that the Gemara over there says that one of the great kings of Judah, Chizkiah HaMelech, he was one of the most righteous kings that from the state of Judah, from the kingdom of Judah, and he didn't want to have any children, and Hashem said to him that because of that he was going to pass away like early. So then Yeshayahu, when he confronted him and he said to him, why don't you, Hashem destined, like said, that you're going to pass away because of that? He said, well, the reason I don't want to have children is because I saw in like the Ruach HaKodesh that one of the kids that I'm going to have is going to be a terrible Rasha. And in fact, that's how it was. It was that Menashe was a terrible Rasha, which caused like sort of irreparable like damage to the kingdom of Judah. So then Yeshayahu said to him, listen, you've got a mitzvah, Puravu. You can control, that's what you have to do. You can't control now one's children, what they're going to be like. This is something which is out of your realm. This is something that is up to Hashem. You have to do what you have to do. So the Greece says that that's what she was saying. She was saying, listen, I'm a woman. I haven't got a mitzvah, formal mitzvah of Puravu. I have to, I'm an assistant in Puravu, but I haven't got any formal mitzvah that I have to engage in Puravu. So therefore, she's saying, Lama ze anochi? Well, if this is what I can see is happening, I must have a child which is a Rasha and a child which is good. That's why I see each one kicks at a different place where I'm working. So I don't want to bring a Rasha into the world. And that's what she wanted to go to ask what's happening over here with, that's what she wanted to ask in the yeshiva of Shem Ever. Al Kol Panim, we see that according to the Greece, that there is room. Let's say, I'm not speaking now, obviously, halacha lemaaseh, but she had like room to say, according to his understanding, if it was clear to a person that they're going to bring into the world such a rasha, then maybe it could be like aborted. So, but that Tzitz Eliezer, I mean, he didn't go that far. Obviously, we're not speaking about these things, but when he saw that there would be such tremendous pain, psychologically and physical, from people who had day sex, basically on the parents and and also the kid to for a certain time. So he allowed to abort even up to 7 months. Amazing, right? But that's what we learned over here, that from this parasha, that when Rivka wanted to sought an advice, this is what she sought an advice about. She said, I'm not chayav on puravu, my husband maybe I can be with him, and as far as the laws of having children, well, she can have children with another woman. And in any case, those days were allowed to have 2 wives. Right? This was the great inquiry that Rivka Emeinu had. Shabbat Shalom.